Tova, and welcome to A Taste of Torah. I am Rabbi Gavi Ruit. Torah nourishes our souls. So every week I'll post a taste from our weekly Torah portion. Our Torah begins with Parashat Bereshit, which means in the beginning. Here we learn that before God began creating the heavens and the earth, the world was tohu vavohu, a seething and chaotic void, a place full of gloom and shadows, insecurity and uncertainty. But then the Spirit of God sweeps over the chaos and changes it. God's first act of creation was to generate light. Torah gives us a creation story unlike any other. Unlike the creation myths of other ancient peoples, ours doesn't include warring gods and violent beginnings. Instead, we have chaos, divine words, and then light. As most of us have experienced, chaos and shadows can be terrifying. They were for our ancestors as well. The fears that our biblical forebears experienced are not unlike those we experience today. Take the flood story. Our ancestors clearly feared environmental upheaval and catastrophe, just as we fear the implications of catastrophic storms and raging forest fires today. Interestingly, Torah tells us that it was human immorality and wrongdoing that brought about the Great Flood. How different is that really from the impact on climate from humans today? Our ancestors also feared unchecked violence, as we see illustrated in a story usually called the Levites Concubine. In it, an innocent woman is raped and murdered at the hands of an unruly and murderous mob, an event that will lead to civil war among the people of Israel. I think we need only look to the anxiety most of us experienced after the insurrection on January 6th to see that our fears are not that different from our biblical ancestors. But the question becomes, what do we do with these fears? In search of answers, I turn to one of our most distinguished modern Jewish philosophers, Emmanuel Levinas. Levinas interprets the first verses of Torah not as a physical creation of the world, but as a moral genesis that transforms chaos into order. For Levinas, God connects with the tohu vavohu by speaking, and thereby transforms the chaotic void into light. Levinas sees this as a metaphor for human interaction. He suggests that we run the risk of sinking back into tohu vavohu when we neglect to see the humanity, suffering, and divinity in those around us. Moving from the chaos of tohu vavohu to the light of human connection requires that we truly see those around us in all their own pain and suffering. For Levinas, it is this work that makes us truly human. Living entails a certain amount of chaos, whether it be personal or public, environmental or political. Levinas provides us a means of rising up out of the shadows into the light of creation through connection. When we seek out and connect with others in their pain, suffering, and distress, we help create light out of darkness. When we work together and collaborate on the pressing issues before us, like climate change and gun violence, we help separate the light from the darkness in order to create, much like our Genesis story, a new day. Shana Tova. May this be a year of connection and collaboration. Be sure to check out upcoming classes at ravgavi.com.